So it's been months since I've actually filmed anything or done any freelance video work. And that's one of the challenges of being freelance and being a little earlier on in building this kind of career and this kind of business, that when you stop putting effort and time into it, it's really easy for the work and for the clientele to dry up. I had a baby, my third baby, back in March. I went back to school and worked on my master's, so I've had a lot of other things going on in life. And as you know, this is just a part-time gig for me. I still have a full-time 9 to 5, and with all of that extra stuff, I just found like my margin was totally gone, and I didn't have the time or the energy to keep investing in the video business. My hope was that the work that I had done in building relationships and clients and networking and kind of building my reel would just continue to generate, probably at a slower pace, but at least some work for me. And unfortunately, I found that work is just totally dried up. So now I'm at a point, my youngest is now 7 months old. Things have slowed down just a little bit, starting to get a little more sleep, where I'm trying to really get the video business back and going again. The income is also something that would be really helpful in this season of life. You have kids, you know that they're expensive. But one of the challenges I'm finding is like, where do I start? How do I get momentum when it feels like I'm stagnant? It feels like I have an inertia problem. So that's what I'm trying to do today. I have a video that I'm gonna shoot today. Shooting this one just totally on spec. This is just going to be a sort of like a testimonial style video, capturing somebody's story for a local church. And hopefully, you know, I'm really just sort of pressing into this idea that action brings action, right? That if I can just start doing some kind of work again, get back in the rhythm, get back in the groove, start posting on YouTube again, that somehow that momentum will sort of pick up. Now, I also need to figure out another strategy to find clients. You know, I've never had a lot of success with cold calling, although I've certainly tried that. Networking is challenging because I spend most of business hours 9 to 5 at my day job. So it's really hard for me to actually sit down and meet with people. And then at night, I got 3 kids at home, so I can't be going out in the evenings to grab a drink with people. So this is the challenge, right? How do I network? How do I build clients? How do I build a business when the time that I have to do it is really only early in the morning, late at night, and occasionally on the weekends? Well, at the same time, being mindful that my number one priority is being with my wife and kids and being with my family, right? That's the whole reason I do this, is to provide for my family. And so I don't want to ignore them for the sake of building, right? That seems antithetical. So that's the goal for today. We're pulling out all the gear. We got to check batteries. Like I said, this stuff has been sitting in storage for, I don't know, 4 or 6 months. Hasn't been used a lot, but let's shake off the cobwebs today. Should be an interesting shoot. I think it's going to be all outdoors around 3 p.m. So it'll be interesting trying to navigate the sun and the shadows. We'll have to see what that looks like. But here we go. We're back to it. So this is our shoot location, outdoor, beautiful little pond in the back. And I really love the color of some of these trees. Now it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon right now. The shoot is in an hour, so I have an hour to set up. The sun is going to be just a little bit further right in the sky, so we'll have to pay attention to where we place our subject. We have a little bit of freedom kind of in this area. If I can pull it off, I kind of really like this frame. I love the color of this big tree on the right, the pond in the background, some of the yellow and red in the other trees, the leaves. I just have to figure out how to work with the shadows that the sun is casting and sort of the variability of the sun. Thankfully, I was able to pull my car right up, so I have all my gear. I don't have to walk with it too far. So we're gonna work on getting set up. I think I'm gonna go with the big 8x8, put up the, put up as much diffusion as I can and kind of try and create some even lighting. So the first thing I really want to do is just get the camera out, turn it on, start looking at what some of these frames are going to look like through the lens. Now I do have to decide what I'm going to shoot this project on. I might just keep it simple and just shoot it on my Sigma glass, on my 24 prime and my 85 prime, or I might shoot it on the Vespids, on the cinema glass. I have been struggling a little bit, I feel like, with the 21 millimeter. I think the warping, the distortion on that lens is really hard when you're shooting people. Or at least I've struggled when there's a lot of pretty straight lines in the frame. It's sort of head interview situations. I've struggled with it, so I might go 50 and 90. But that's one of the decisions I need to make. So get the camera up, start looking at some frames, see what we think, start making some calls. So as I'm looking at different focal lengths right now, I just have my Sigma 24-70, so I can flip through some focal lengths. If I go all the way out to 24, I really like the width of this frame. I think the subject is going to be sitting, so we can get a lot more of the context in the frame, which is definitely nice. We can get the camera a little closer. If I go to 50, side note, this is on the FX30, so it's crop sensor, so you have to do the conversion on the actual focal length. If I go to 50, I mean, once again, also a really clean frame, a little tighter in, you lose some of the trees, you lose some of the context, but still a really nice visual. What I'm thinking I'll do, so I'll have A cam on sticks, and then I think I'm gonna handhold the B cam off to the side just to create a little bit more of a dynamic shot. I'll probably use the SAC to rest the camera on, so it's still smooth but handheld, and that will probably either be on the 85 Sigma, the art lens, or on the 90 Vespid lens. So I'm gonna throw on the 50 and the 21 Vespids and just see what that looks like, because I think I do like a little bit more of a stylized look for this shoot, for this testimonial kind of storytelling. I just have to decide if I can get away with the warping of the 21 in this context. So we got the 8x8 up. We also checked the Sunseeker app just to kind of see where the sun is going to be. Hopefully this is helpful and effective. We'll kind of have to wait and see. It's hard to do an 8x8 with just one person. I really need two people to move this. So when the talent and the director show up, we'll get it moved in place. Right now I'm going to get the boom set up for the shotgun mic. I'm going to go both shotgun and lav because of the noise of the fountain, and also there's a road over there. Just want to have two sources just to be safe. Other than that though, I think we're going to go with the 21. I'm just liking that image. I think it's going to look really nice. I'll have to see once the sun is shifted down a little bit more how much light I have and if I need to run power and actually add my own light on top of the sun. So we'll see. So this is the final image that we came up with just a light color grade. This is our A-cam, the FX30 with the DZO Vespid 21mm. Now I did find that I had a little bit of trouble getting the lighting correct. It was lighter in the background than it was on my subject, so I had to do some work in post to fix that. I didn't get a great shot of kind of the final setup here. You can see just in this frame that I did end up adding a couple tube lights just to try and bring up the level on our main subject. I thought I would have power so I could run an extension cord to run my lights, and those outlets that I had found actually didn't end up working. So kind of had to get creative and use the only battery powered lights I had, which were two 4-foot tube lights. But overall, I think it did an okay job. There's enough information there to play with in post to try and raise the levels on our subject and kind of bring down the highlights in the background. These are just a kind of variation of B-cam images. I tried to move around a lot to make it look like I had more than two cameras and get some really creative angles and creative options. I loved the color and the background of the trees and just some of the different textures. So moved around a lot, just held the A7 IV with the DZO Vespid 90mm handheld on the SAC just to get some nice, stable, kind of clean, but still some of that handheld movement throughout these different shot variations. So overall, I'm really happy with the way this shoot went. It felt great to get the gear out, to be shooting again, to be creative, and just to get to create something, to try and get some of that momentum and inertia back. I still now need to figure out how to kind of get back to finding paid clients. And actually, if you have any ideas, things that work for you, I'd love to hear about that in the comments down below. Man, I will take all the help I can get at this point. But overall, it's just good to get back in the rhythm of being creative and of using this skill set, developing this skill set, and kind of putting myself out there.